Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back to the show. We are with the founder and creator of Nobelia.org. That's right, the Way of Impeccability and Moreness. We're talking about Moreness
Yes,
change
Moreness-Living,
programs. Yep.
Moreness-Living.
He's an author, he's a
Exactly,
poet, he's really an inspiration to so many. And
exactly.
we're here today to talk to him again about the work he's doing to help change your life, help you change that. So, welcome back today. How are you?
Brilliant, brilliant. Most excellent. Most excellent. I'm always very excited to be here because what we're sharing, like you said, moreness, the core of what I do, which is a lot, yeah. But the core is about personal change and also
Yeah.
about changing the environment that we're in, and that's changing the paradigm. Away from the superiority paradigm to an alternative paradigm. Now, I call it, for me, it's a oneness paradigm, but it can be any paradigm. But to break away from that typical superiority paradigm, which is so limiting, it's always about, pulling others down, pushing them down, competing, and it's about hierarchy. But, to be relatively better doesn't make you better in an actual real sense. You're just relatively better, which doesn't mean that you actually achieve anything. Yes. Or at least that's typically what happens. But I want to get back to where we left off last week, right? Because what I'm doing in this, underlying all the writing, whether it be nonfiction, whether it be the fiction series I have, all of it is Way of Impeccability. Way of Impeccability is the core character training program. It's a very elaborate, extensive, cohesive, very
Mm-hmm.
sophisticated program. And it takes a minimum of 4 months, but typically a year, because you're truly, truly looking to change yourself. Now, we started sharing this, and we've got lots of episodes to go. We're probably going to be going for about a year or something. That's what the producers tell me, right? Anyway, I'll be sharing this. It's not that long. The program is individual sections. It's about 25 or so. But I started sharing about the clarity of intent. And I'll screen share again, but I also want to keep it more focused on the audio because not everybody sees the video, right, Jill? A lot of people are only listening.
True, you're right.
Yeah, so I do want to do that, and because I was listening to an interview actually of yours where I think you were interviewing somebody who does interior design or something of
Yes,
that
that was
nature.
earlier. You're so kind to care to listen to other people's shows. Thank you.
Yeah,
From
yeah,
South
and they were
Carolina.
and they were sharing photos, and
Oh,
you were commenting on the photos, but I'm like, I can't see those because I was just listening. So I made a mental note to say, don't
good.
be visual focused, be
Good.
audio focused. Yeah,
Okay,
I think
good point.
at least for me, at least for
Yeah.
me. I mean, the visuals are nice, and if you anybody actually doing the program, that's going to be kind of important. But I'll share for us, and I'll just use it for my own reference. But I'll explain what's going on. So last week I left us with, well, at least I hope, was a little
Yeah.
bit of a cliffhanger to say this is the start of Way of Impeccability. This is
Mm-hmm.
module one, session one, and it's called Clarity of Intent and Focus of Purpose. But I
Okay.
said specifically, I want to relate and connect this to how it would be appropriate for your children. Your children are ages 7 and 9, you said. Yes. So
Yep,
I
you're
said,
so
wow,
good.
yeah, that's a young age. And you said, clarity of intent. This might not be something that necessarily is going to connect to them. All right, clarity maybe, but intent, this is a complex conception. And especially in our typical language, people confuse intent with intention. And I'm not even going to go into that just now because that's a nice detailed explanation. Very important to understand the difference. However, focus of purpose. Still, this may be a bit vague for your children. We can bring it down to something very simple. And I would absolutely urge anybody to do this, not just a parent for their children, but to get into the mindset of whenever you just say, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's how you bring it into the focus for the children. What am I doing? Yes.
Yep.
Because we lose track of what we're doing. Now, initially, as this starts and you develop this as a mental habit, as a focus point, you say, what am I doing? Well, okay, I'm doing an interview with Jill and we're having
Yeah.
fun and we're sharing moreness. But let's go a little bit further. I'm also what I am doing. I am exemplifying and putting into practice my qualities of being,
Yeah.
which would be things like patience, discernment, appropriateness, integrity. Yes. Then I can say that's in an abstract sense. I'm not only chatting to you and talking to you. I'm also communicating. I'm also sharing. Yes. I'm also conveying what's important to me. Those are all extra things that I'm doing. Anybody who's a professional and someone like you, of course, you don't just interview me. You do a lot of things beside just interview, right? There's a lot of depth that goes to it. Like I'm
Yeah.
assuming you have to pay attention to incoming stuff, if we're going to take calls or
Yeah,
you
we
make
watch
sure
the
the
radio
videos are.
board. We got the commercials lined up. I have you on the air. I'm watching the time. I'm watching you. I'm researching you, looking at our notes. Yes, always on top.
Keep going, keep going.
And
I'd love to hear
oh,
professionals
and then I'm
share
looking
their
at myself
professional.
sometimes, making sure my hair looks okay. It's
There
part
you
of the
go. Of
job.
course, of
It's
course.
part of the
Oh, I
job.
got one out of place there. I got don't make no difference.
Oh, that's great.
So yes, when we start to really take that, what am I doing, and we change that doing into a capital D doing. Oh, 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 I'm sharing moreness. Now, in the context
Uh-huh.
of my day-to-day life, what am I
Yeah.
doing? All right, I'm having breakfast. At the same time, I
Yeah.
might be working on my posture, just how
Uh-huh.
I'm sitting at the
True.
table. Yes, but also that's immediate. When we take that doing and we stretch it in time, oh, becomes a very big difference. What am I doing? Especially if I wake up in the day and say, "What am I doing?" Okay, I'm doing my job. Yes, but is that all that my life is about? No,
Uh,
no. See, my life is about more than just doing the stuff of my life. And now, when you start to think about this and think about your children, if you can get over time, they may not pick this up immediately, but the more they ask this question, what are they doing? Especially if you share with them to keep expanding
yeah.
what it applies to, right? Is what you're doing right now? Yes, okay, it's breakfast, you're getting ready for school. Yeah, but what else are you going to be doing at school? Set yourself ahead of time and prepare, right? All right, you want to be not get into trouble, you don't want to get into any fights, you don't want to be arguing, you don't want to be responding to insults, whatever. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, schools are better than when I was at school, but that was typically what you are trying not to get bullied. That was most of my school life. That was what it was about. It was terrible. But I mean, I was very strategic as a result of thinking about this. I learned to think ahead, right? And that's just
Yeah.
one of the doings. But the other doings is, I want to learn to be a bit more patient. That's a life doing. Yes, patience is a
So true.
superpower if one really
Yep.
has patience. Now, for your kids to start
Mm.
thinking about what else am I doing with my life rather than just preparing to get a job or be in my own business.
Yep.
Now, look, I had both of those. When I was at school, it was only one. Hopefully, schools have changed. But did you ever, when you were at school, did they ever say to you, well, you're preparing to get a good job? Did they ever say, well, you can also prepare to be in your own business? No way. They never ever said that to us, yeah?
Yeah.
Isn't that
You're right.
amazing?
They did
Why?
not. Nope, not at
Why?
all.
Why? Why? Yeah. So to me, if you're going to do your children a favor, to point out to them all the options. You can
Yeah.
you can work for yourself. You can, even if you have a job like you may be, but you may be an independent contractor, right? You know,
Yep.
let's
You're
say
so
like a
smart. Look
TV
at you.
station.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I've worked at full-time contracted TV stations, but now I'm not. I'm a freelancer. Yes, you got it.
Exactly, exactly. But we're not prepared for that in our schooling
No.
because our mind is just always get a job, get a job, get a job, and it's a box. But now I'm taking this a little bit further, right? And this is what I do. I think things through to the
Ah,
end. Whenever I
good.
write it, it's think
Good.
things through, and to the end
Good.
is always capitalized. Because if you don't think it through to the end, you miss so much. Like
Yep.
this, a very simple thing. Prepare your mind for whatever is appropriate. Now,
True.
everything I do, it's all around this
Yep.
conception of appropriateness. So now we say for your children, if you can connect this, what am I doing to appropriateness? Right? And I don't mean proper. A lot of people confuse appropriateness with this idea of proper. No, proper is some other knucklehead's idea of what I should be doing. No, no, no. Thank you very much. Appropriateness is according to you. You've got to decide what's appropriate. And the same thing can be appropriate in one circumstance and inappropriate in another, right? If I'm telling jokes and I'm at a wedding, it's very appropriate. If I go
Yes.
to a funeral and I start telling jokes, maybe not so much, yeah? But it depends on the funeral. If you go
Yeah.
to a, yeah, I mean, some funerals are a celebration. They're not a sorrowful, mournful thing. And, you'll tell funny stories or good stories about the person, you celebrate their life. So it can be appropriate. But that's my point. The same thing, it depends on what you're trying to do. Appropriateness depends on your objective, what you're trying to accomplish, and also the situation, the context. And it's like, most people understand appropriateness when it comes to clothing. Yes. I mean, when you're on an interview, you wear a nice outfit like Jill has, very stylish.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
But you might not wear that to the beach. Or you might. I don't know. You're
No,
very
no,
stylish. You
probably
might get
not. No,
away with it.
no.
But you see my point, though. It's all about appropriateness. Yeah. And it depends, though. If you were going for a nice fashion shoot and you say, well, we're going to do it on the beach, and you're selling the dress, right? Then it might be appropriate if you're a model wearing that dress on the beach. Yes. Different
Yes, true.
objective. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So isn't that amazing? The same things are sometimes appropriate or inappropriate depending on what you're trying to accomplish, what your objective, your goal is, and then the context of it as well. So it's incredible how this changes. It's really amazing. But if you can get your kids to think about appropriateness, and when they say, "What am I doing? Is it appropriate?" Boy, that just changes everything. That just changes everything. I mean, for me, when I was a kid, it was like, will this get me into trouble? Will this get me bullied? Well, that was very predominant, right? I guess I was a good kid. I stayed out of trouble, even though I was a troublemaker, because I learned to be
Mm-hmm.
strategic, because it helped this.
Yeah.
I thought in a different context. And when you start to think outside of just your immediate, when you start to stretch your
Yep.
mind a little bit to think ahead and what is appropriate, not just right now,
Yep.
but later. For instance, take breakfast again, right? Your kids' breakfast is a big issue, I'm assuming, right? Breakfast before school, getting
Yes.
ready, it's
This morning
chaos
was a
time.
waffle with butter. The other one was Captain Crunch cereal,
Right,
but got to
right.
pick out the berries because he doesn't like the berries. It has to. Yes, yes, yes.
I hear you. I, I, I,
I'm glad you
but
like it.
because I have a unique diet, and I could tell a long story about eating and how it works, and how it's transformative in my life. I ate very particularly, but I'll come back to that in a moment. It's
Okay.
a fun. There's a lot to it. This point about breakfast time. If you to say to your children, well, would it be appropriate if we were to, have, well, let's just say, sweets for breakfast? Ask them. Ask them.
They'd be
Only
like,
sweets.
yeah. They would be like,
Yeah.
yeah, Oreos,
Yeah.
sure.
And,
And
and,
I
and then you say, okay, what's going to happen to you later today?
belly ache, stomach
Would
ache.
th- and that's going to be appropriate for school, or maybe you have the runs and you got to run to the bathroom during
Yes.
class.
You got to talk to them about that. Yes, very
Uh,
smart. Give
uh,
them the
right, right.
consequences of
See,
their decisions.
exactly. But now you're not just connecting the event with the consequence. You are connecting it to appropriateness, right?
Yeah.
You're making a little triangle, because kids will remember that specifically. They're like a computer. It's a specific thing. Okay, eat sweets and you have stomach ache, or maybe you get to run. But if you say, is it appropriate? Now
Yes.
it's an abstract conception. Oh, oh, oh. Now later, when you have another example and you say, okay, today you're going to dress in your bathing costume.
Mm-hmm.
Is it appropriate for school? No,
No.
not really. But now you've got two instances of appropriate, one with the food and one with the
True.
bathing costume. The brain automatically understands appropriateness now as an abstract conception. They might not understand when you say abstract conception, doesn't mean anything. But through the usage, right? They've now connected this and they understand, oh, do what's appropriate. So now you say, whenever you think, what am I doing? Think, is it appropriate?
Yeah, you're right. All
That's it.
right, good.
That's it. Now, not just for kids, but boy, I know tons of adults, and literally I know ones that have used this, that use it right now every day. This is part of their daily being. That they use this. What am I doing in a very sophisticated way?
Yeah.
I use it myself all the time. Sometimes I'm really busy working on something, and you get a call or whatever. It's like, what was I doing again? Oh yeah, what am I doing? Okay. And then you get back onto where you are, right? And also you lose that thread. Maybe sometimes you were thinking about more. And it's like, maybe I'm thinking about a story that I want to write or a new chapter or whatever, right? And you get distracted. Or whatever. Oh yes, oh yeah, and then you come back. It's a way of holding your path as well as when you think of what am I doing with my life.
So
Yeah,
true.
now it's a bigger question.
Yeah,
You know,
it
a lot of
is.
people are successful. They've got their own shows. They do stuff. But does that mean that what am I doing with my heart, my soul, my spirit? Does this really, am I satisfied there? Of course, this is the question with midlife crisis, correct?
So true. Yeah.
Exactly. People say, what am I doing? And the midlife crisis is they do not have a satisfactory answer for that capital D doing. I've got the success, I've got money, wealth, I've had my children, they've gone, they've left, but yet I'm not really satisfied because they've been focusing on.
Oh, did we lose you? Still? Connection issue? It happens. In the meantime, I shall continue till you come back. Does that sound like a plan? I hope so, because Syl is all about moreness. Nobelia.org. That's the website, Nobelia.org. And hopefully we'll get our friend Syl back here. But really, this is a world where culture, community, all revolves around nobleness, being noble, and of course, where such nobility of being is based deeply on solid character foundations. And this really is a self-discovery project, and he's helping so many. Join the Facebook group, SASI. Again, go to nobelia.org, and it's all about self-discovery. In the meantime, do we have our guest back here? Syl Sabastian. Not yet, but hopefully we'll get him back. We appreciate you promoting us on Facebook and all that you do, life coaching programs, courses, and great conversationalist, as I think you could see here. So let's see if we can get our guest back. In the meantime, here we go. We are going to take a quick break. Thanks so much.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Welcome back, Syl. Thank
Brilliant.
you. We got you back. Syl Sebastian. We took a little
Brilliant.
commercial break.
Yeah,
Nobelia.org.
that's what I was hoping for. I said, I know
See?
Jill's a professional. She'll
You
roll with it,
knew.
and you fill in that dead
And
time
I'm
no matter
here.
what you
Don't
do.
worry. I am
Yeah.
here.
Brilliant, brilliant. So I was sharing about this. What are we doing in the greater context of our lives?
Yep.
And that's what I'm sharing. There is so much more we can do and be, just in terms of how we are inside. What about mood management?
Mm-hmm.
Do you choose your moods, or are your moods chosen for you by your environment and circumstances?
Yeah, the latter one. Totally.
It's incredible. We can learn to mood manage, as you
Uh-huh.
know, as a professional. When you come on the show, doesn't matter that the kids were being really a pain this morning and they were
Right?
like, seriously, come
Yeah.
on, and they were amazed. You can't bring that irritation or annoyance or botheration. You can't bring it to the
I
show. You've
wouldn't
got
have
to
a
leave it
job.
behind, right?
No, and you wouldn't be good on
Exactly.
air. Same thing. Yeah, no.
Exactly. In other words, you've learned to choose your mood and your attitude. Not only that, but what you particularly are skilled about. And I'm using it as an example, not because I want to, flatter or charm Jill, but because anybody who knows your show will know this even from listening. You are exceptionally skilled at managing your energy. You
Yeah.
always bring good energy to your shows, right? always.
Thank you. I try my best. Yes.
Yeah. And now I'm connecting this to the greater doing in our lives. Yes, we can do this in our professional lives. We can manage our mood, manage our energy. But what about in our personal lives? When you wake up in the morning, do you choose your mood, or you just continue with whatever mood you're waking up?
I
Part
choose
of what
my mood in the morning. No, I do.
you have to, exactly. And when you start to learn to do this as a
yeah.
deliberation, you wake up in the morning, what am I doing? First thing I'm
Yes.
doing is I'm choosing my mood, which sets my attitude, sets my energy, it sets everything. When you can deliberately mood shift, you've acquired an incredible magic power. Yes.
True.
It's an
Yes.
incredible shift, because think
Yes.
about it. I'm not dependent on life for my mood anymore. Me, I choose, not life. It's a massive shift, right? Now I'm relating all of this back to the main theme and topic of our day, which is, what am I doing? What am I doing? And to your children, when you connect what am I doing to appropriateness as this massive big concept, yes, appropriateness is going to apply to absolutely everything you do. I just applied it to mood now, which is incredible, but also your behavior, your energy,
Yeah.
your attitude, your mindset. And we
Yeah.
can learn all of that, right? And we're going to be going through all of the different tools of living, which enable us to be more appropriate.
And we're out of time, right?
That's why I ended right there.
I'm sorry. Oh, you're
No,
such a good, you're good. You're good. You're good. So we'll
no,
start off with
no,
that again next week. We'll be back here live. So how
exactly.
do we reach out to you?
Nobelia.org. Very simple. Very simple. Nobelia.org. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so
I mean,
much.
on the Nobelia.org, there's a connect page, and you can find every way to connect to me there. Very simple.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day. Thank you
You
for
too.
being
You
here,
too.
and we'll
You
talk
too.
next week. Keep it noble,
Bye bye.
keep it more. Bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.